Welcome dear children. Today we will be continued with the lesson planning. In the last class we discussed about meaning, importance and limitations of planning. Today we are going to learn about steps in the process of planning. Systematic approach to planning is very necessary for preparing sound plans. The steps usually involved in systematic planning are setting objectives, developing the planning premises, identifying alternative courses of action, evaluating alternatives and choosing the best alternative, formulating derivative plans, securing cooperation, and follow-up action. Plans are prepared to achieve certain objectives or goals. Therefore, the first step in planning is to define and describe clearly the objectives of the organization as a whole and of each of its individual departments. Major objectives should be clear and specific, and they should be broken down into departmental objectives, sectional objectives, and individual objectives. Objectives specify the expected result and indicate the end points of what is to be done, where the primary emphasis is to be placed, and what is to be accomplished by various types of plans. Moreover, objectives provide guidelines for many decisions relating to allocation of resources, scheduling of work, nature of actions, etc. Therefore, planned objectives must be clear and specific. Once the objective to be achieved are set, the next step involves establishing the premises or assumptions about the future. These are established with the help of forecasting future conditions and events which are likely to influence the objectives. For example, after economic liberalization, several multinational companies have started business in India, and Indian companies are acquiring international quality certificates on the assumption that such certification will enable them to face competition from multinational companies. Planning premises may be of tangible and intangible premises, internal and external premises, and controllable and uncontrollable premises. Assumptions which can be expressed in quantitative terms are called tangible premises. For example, units of production, capital investment, etc. Assumptions which cannot be expressed in quantitative terms are called intangible premises. For example, goodwill of the enterprises, motivation, etc. And assumptions about the internal working of the enterprise are known as internal premises. For example, capital, machines, personnel, etc. On the other hand, factors outside the enterprise are called external premises. For example, changes in technology, population growth, changes in competition, government policies, etc. Policies and programs of the organization which can be fully regulated by the management are controllable premises. Uncontrollable premises are the external factors like trade cycle, political changes, etc. which are beyond the control of the management. Once the objective and planning premises are established, it becomes necessary to discover the various courses of action which may be used to achieve the established objectives. In order to identify all possible alternatives, it is necessary to collect and analyze all relevant information. Information may be collected from primary and secondary sources. The data so collected will serve as the base for developing of an alternative course of action. After identifying the alternative course of action, the next step involved in planning is evaluating the alternative and choosing the best alternative. The various alternatives are evaluated and compared in terms of their expected cost and benefit. The alternative course of action should be judged in terms of common factors such as risk involved, expected return, planning premises, goals to be achieved, etc. After objective and scientific evaluation of different alternatives, the best alternative is selected. After the basic plan is decided, the next logical step is to develop detailed plan for its implementation. These detailed or derivative plans refers to the policies, procedures, rules, programs, budgets, etc. For instance, when a company decides to develop a new product, plans concerning the product design, procurement of funds, purchase of material, training of personnel, advertisement for product, etc. have to be prepared. Proper timing and sequencing of plans should be done. After formulating the derivative plans or detailed plan, the next step involved in planning is securing cooperation. Successful implementation of plans requires the understanding and wholehearted cooperation of all the members of the organization. Therefore, the plans must be communicated and explained in detail to the employees so that they have an understanding of what is proposed to be done and why. When plans are communicated to the workers, some useful suggestions and ideas may be received. The last step involved in planning is follow-up action. That means existing plans are reviewed at periodic intervals to ensure their relevance and effectiveness. Whenever necessary, the plans must be revised. Continuous revision of plans enables the management to draw up subsequent plans on the basis of experience gained in the process of implementing the previous plans.